Hello everyone, welcome back to the Educated Colin Snap channel. How you doing? So today I wanted to go over a deck that we showcased in the niche builds. This one was a Sera DoomWave deck. I got a lot of comments kind of asking that the deck looked complicated and they wanted to see how a player would pilot this particular list. Well, I kind of was also interested in the deck. It looked interesting to me. So I kind of have a couple of games for you to showcase that we played, and we'll just kind of break down how we want to play this deck, how we want to pilot this deck moving forward. So just first things off, the deck strategy really revolves around this Psylocke Sera wave combo. So you want a Psylocke on 3 into the Sera on 4, allowing you with the wave to play 2 cards of your choosing on the final turn. So with this, you have a lot of good bombs to play on the final turn. Doctor Doom, Odin, Arrow, She-Hulk, Death. Those are really, really powerful tools. And then your early game has a lot of control tools and counter tools with the Killmonger and the Shang-Chi. And then Yondu just helps with your death and is a 1-drop, while Scorpion is just a very powerful, annoying card for your opponents to deal with. So we can kind of go through some of the games here and really showcasing the power of this deck. Let's begin. So first off, we're against Gens here. Really don't know exactly what they're playing, so it's always interesting. We do have the Scorpion on 2. They do play a Sunspot, not anything telegraphed at the moment. So we're just gonna kind of follow the script. We play the Scorpion on 2, and we'll see what we have there. So he does pass on 2, which doesn't really tell us too much, but him having a Sunspot could be nice if we do draw into a Killmonger. We didn't really get a great top deck, so we are just going to play the Yondu. Yondu could set up on 3 to play She-Hulk on 4, or so. We really didn't get our combo here where we wanted to go Psylocke into Sera or anything like that. He is playing Electro, so now we know he's a ramp deck here. So this one, we do play Psylocke, which honestly you could argue that the She-Hulk is better, but decided to go for the Psylocke for a particular reason. It did allow us to set up Killmonger Wave. So Killmonger Wave is nice because we can kill off the Sunspot, and even though we are locking the middle lane, we kill off our Yondu, so it's not too bad. He does hit Doctor Doom with the Jubilee, so kind of nice. I know we can't contest that left lane with the Devil Sword Doombot here, so we're really just trying to win the middle and the right lane. Death being free is really nice, and we go for the death into arrow combo. So I do want to say we maybe could have went She-Hulk on turn 4, but it still ended up working out overall good for us. So we do death here, and then the arrow will move the Odin on the left lane. So I was kind of predicting the Odin to be played in the middle lane. So with that arrow moving it, ends up giving us the win. So that's kind of how we piloted this first game. Pretty close, not the easiest one to win. Next up, we're in Carlson, gives us a little emote. And here we have a really good hand here. We've got the Psylocke into Sera into wave combo, and we have a 2-drop. So this is really something to take advantage of. I haven't really been snapping in a lot of my games because I want to play it out. A lot of times if you snap aggressively, people tend to leave. And sometimes I just want to get the games out, especially when, you know, you've got a really good hand here. So now that's kind of it. I'll say normally this is definitely a hand you could snap into. We do hit Murder World, which isn't super good for us, but we do have the death, so it's not all too bad. Decided to commit into the death synergy, so I put the Psylocke in there to get it killed off. Might have confused my opponent a little bit, but I think it made a lot of sense for our game plan. So here we have the Psylocke into it. He gets really lucky, hits Morbius in a discard deck while we just get Beast. Not really great for us, so a little bit lucky for him. But our game plan in our hand is still pretty good, so we just commit the Sera. He goes Jubilee. Okay, Jubilee hitting the Gambit. Okay, so Gambit can only hit our Beast, so not the best hit for him in terms of the Jubilee. And he does get the discard for the Morbius, but fortunately we don't lose our Sera. So because of that, we're able to do a big play, Killmonger Wave and Yondu. Killmonger doesn't really hit anything, but it's just extra power on the lanes, and we just get to really set up for our final turn. You can see the death is free, and we high roll the Doom here, so that really makes it strong. I was thinking about this line, but decided to change it up here and really take advantage of some of our synergies. And I came to the conclusion we can actually go Dr. Doom Odin left. So what this allows us to do is the Killmonger will proc again, allowing us to kill off our Yondu so that the Doctor Doom will once again fill that right lane. So I thought this was a really nice play from us here. We go Doctor Doom, then we go Killmonger. Fortunately, he had a 1-drop as well, so we're able to kill off that 1-drop and then kill off our Yondu, proc the Doctor Doom, get the Doctor Doom bots on the full lane. So definitely a nice one. Even the Captain Marvel couldn't really save him there. So really thought this was a well executed particular game from us to get the win here. So it really showcases some of the synergies and powerful strats that you can do with this particular deck. Here we have D Kami. Don't really know exactly what he's running. Wakanda Embassy. We do have a couple of good cards that we are going to be playing into that. So we do get the Yondu on 1. We'll see what we hit. We hit the Iceman. Does not really tell us anything. So that's one thing with the Yondu, right? You get a read into your opponent's deck list a little bit early. So this turn we don't pull that Psylocke. That's something that you can see a lot of people having issues with this deck, playing the Psylocke on 2 autopiloting. You really want to save the Psylocke on for 3 if you can, so that you can go Psylocke into Sera on 4. We hit the Sera and the wave, so we now have a really nice hand for us to deal with. So pretty synergistic. You can see with the Savage Lands, I have like the autopilot of playing the Killmonger, but you want to stick to the script. You want to stick to the Sera here, and we can definitely set up the Killmonger on a later date. So yeah, Killmonger here into the wave sets up the death very well, even without the without the Savage Lands. We'd probably still be fine with the death, but the Killmonger into it just gives us this huge discount on the death. Combo with the late wave, the death is free. So this makes the game really nice. You can see the power of the combo. We're able to play 3 cards here while our opponent can really realistically play 1. So we can just like contest the middle lane very easily. Didn't want to contest the right lane since Dracula is like a little bit iffy. You can't really fully know what that's going to do. But with the death itself, I'm pretty sure we can just win that middle lane. So I just commit only the death, and then we full commit to the left side. He does also play on the left, so ends up being a Giganto. If we only committed the error, we wouldn't have had enough, but he did get unlucky with the Dracula hitting a Sunspot. It looks to be a Dracula dump deck, so he really wanted to play a lot of his cards down on the final turn and wasn't able to do that. Next up, it looks like we hit him again, so we're able to see more of his deck and really figure out what he's doing. So we have the back of our mind, you know, what type of deck he has, some early game aggression. We do get Iceman hit our Scorpion. That's gonna be annoying for us. Like so we can't play it, or we don't have that many early game options. And then he hits us with the Scorpion. So yeah, he's one of those players, Iceman Scorpion, you know how it is. Collapse Mind. So I was considering playing the Killmonger into the Collapse Mines, but decided that maybe the She-Hulk would be just more valuable if I don't use it, because the cards are gonna die anyways. So decided to instead just pass here and then see if we can use the She-Hulk value better next turn. So yeah, here we go. Looks like we're just playing the She-Hulk, probably on the left lane, yeah, to contest that lane. And then I was considering playing the death, right, just to make sure we're using our mana efficiently. But then something I've learned over the course of playing this deck is that Sera works really well with death. If it only costs 1 or so, or if it with the Sera, it will go down to 0. So even though Sera has a minimum 1, death also has its own cost reduction, so it can ignore that minimum 1 requirement. So Sera makes the death free, so you don't have to invest it super early. He contests his Red Skull in that middle lane because he probably wants to flood some of the other scenarios. So makes it a lot easier since we are playing the Shang-Chi to just commit that Shang-Chi into that middle lane and win that. And then we also have this death very easily. So we go Killmonger death, and we still have mana for a Psylocke, so we just play that right. So have a lot of power to contest a lot of lanes and makes it pretty easy for us with the Shang-Chi. So we just have a lot of tools to really mess with your opponents with the Shang-Chi, with the Killmonger, and we have our own setups with the death and the wave and all that. So really nice win for us. He plays a Giganto again. Can pretty much confirm he's a Dracula dump deck, just having a lot of big tools to really finish out the hand. Next up, it was a series of games against Boomer. We didn't know this during this first game, but he ended up playing Galactus, and we can see some of the strategies and like ways we can play into that matchup. So we play wave into him, not really knowing what he's playing. We're just kind of casually maybe going to go Dr. Doom or something like that. So we do go Doom, right? Doom for the left side. Maybe the Raptors changed things a little bit, but yeah, so the Raptors did change our play here. I think we were normally playing on going Dr. Doom, but we just go Death, just blind Death, and we now learn that he's a Galactus deck. Had no idea before that he was playing Galactus, but over with this play, do finally learn that he's playing Galactus, and that kind of changes what we want to do. So we just go biggest power, we go for the arrow here, and he plays the Nimrod, which gives us a little bit more read in what type of deck he's going. But we keep it up, we just go biggest power here, so we play the Odin and see what goes on. So he does something interesting here. He plays the Spider-Man and just locks out our lane. So this one's definitely a pretty scary situation, right? When you can't play anything and they get to do something. So we decide we're not scared of him. We decide to pass. And Boomer also has that same read where he decides to pass, thinking we would leave, retreat later. He's played us a lot, and he knows we're retreat laters, not retreat nows. So he decides to check if we retreated or not. We didn't retreat, and we got the win. You can see that even if he had Shang-Chi, we would still be ahead, 16 to his 13. So I think it was definitely a safe place to stay, but I think a lot of people would have left there. Here we're playing him again, and now we're aware that he's a Galactus deck. So we're now thinking about it. Shadowlands is really good for us, means that's a lane he can't Galactus into. We do go Scorpion into the middle lane. We don't know what the right lane is, so this kind of showcases there. Kalmar is not particularly bad or not particularly good, but we're just really figuring out what we want to do. We go Psylocke there. He goes Wave, and we're instantly thinking about Galactus now. So we want to figure out which ways, where is he going to Galactus? I thought he might not go into the middle lane. So we do try to commit the Odin on the right. I thought Odin into the Kalmar is generally good anyways. We'll get more mana for our future turns. End up, I believe, getting 4 extra mana with the synergy. So even if it did get destroyed, I was thinking with the extra mana, we should be fine. So here I was thinking about just fully committing. But the one issue is that it just sets up the Shang-Chi very easily for him. And I really didn't want to do that. So the end of turn, we just only play the Sera, which is a little bit interesting. And he does play the Shuri. So the one downside to this line is if he did Spider-Man again, we wouldn't be able to break that. But I was saying if he has Spider-Man, well, then he just gets the win here. I'm not going to be scared of that out. So we go for our big play on the final turn. He has a Shuri into a big card, most likely Destroyer. So we're thinking maybe 30 power Destroyer, but you can see the Scorpion from before really affecting the results of this game, right? He's lost 2 power on the Destroyer. If the Scorpion didn't hit that Destroyer, we'd probably be having maybe a tie game there. So definitely an interesting and really clutch win utilizing all of our tools. You can see Clint there it's definitely not a lane that Galactus will play in. So it's something I was like, okay, that lane's pretty safe. He does go Iceman, hits our Psylocke, which isn't too bad because normally you want to be playing Psylocke on 3 anyway, so it's not really a bad hit for us. Jotunheim, though, is pretty bad, right? We have a minion already invested into that lane, and it's not it's not a lane that you usually want to be playing into. So we do set up just the Psylocke here. We didn't really want to play Killmonger yet. He does go Electro left, so definitely know he's not doing anything like Galactus into that particular lane. We're just gonna go Sera. In case he doesn't play Galactus, we do want to have some way to contest that lane. So we play the Sera there. We'll have a little bit more power. He Spider-Mans, which is very obnoxious because it means we can only play into the Jotunheim and we can't play into the hub. But it does also mean that the Galactus is kind of forced into that particular lane. So we go for the kill on our Yondu. We could have also played Falcon, but I was just more happy with the Killmonger there generally. So it kind of reduces that weakness of just having that weak one drop really messing it up. And the death we still have to really contest that lane. He doesn't have a lot of like good top decks here. He could have went Shang-Chi, but it's a very hard read to go Shang-Chi there. So we just go for the big power. He plays his big power, but we have the death, so we're able to win. So death really helps us in this Galactus matchup over and over, just doing a lot of work for us. So first up here, we have a Limbo game. This one is particularly interesting, right? I wouldn't say Limbo is bad for us because we have a lot of big cards and we can definitely take advantage of that extra turn. Unfortunately, our hand is pretty bad here. We have nothing to play in these first turns and still nothing here. So it's really not looking super good for us. Our opponent plays a Bishop, which is fine. You would say with Bishop, he's maybe playing a bounce deck. That would be the read there. So we just have the Yondu. We play the Yondu. That's really all we can do. We hit the Mysterio. So yeah, we're thinking maybe Hidden Monkey, maybe Bounce Hidden Monkey, maybe Sera, Hidden Monkey deck, that kind of thing. We luckily top decked the She-Hulk, which is really good because we didn't really have a lot of use for our mana. So the She-Hulk kind of takes advantage of that situation. So kind of a really nice top deck. The opponent didn't play anything on 4, which is very rare. There is a Limbo, so you could say he's trying to save his combos for the last turn, especially if he's a Hit Monkey deck, but still doing nothing on 4, I think, is what allowed me to be confident and snap because we're not in a super bad position. He also is playing Sera, so it's a Sera mirror match. And that's definitely something interesting here. So here, we're just trying to figure out how to use our mana efficiently. We were thinking maybe Psylocke Wave, and we could do something with that. But with the extra mana, it wasn't really going to change the numbers too much. It would allow us to go like 3-3-2, since the death is going to cost 2, since it's got 2-card discount. But we decided to go for the most power, so we just went Arrow. It's not something we were thinking about playing next turn, so decided to go for the Arrow here. He plays Basque. He plays Squirrel Girl. He plays Iron Man. Iron Man being a little bit scary. You could say that he probably should have put the Squirrel Girl in a different lane so that the Squirrel would have the extra 3 power. So that's... I haven't really looked at it from the opponent's side, but if you are going to judge the opponent, you could definitely say that maybe you should have moved the Squirrel Girl to a different lane. But here we got our Dr. Doom Odin combo. The opponent snapped, feeling confident about his position, but I'm feeling pretty good with Dr. Doom Odin. Especially into Washington, D.C., we're contesting every lane, and he has to do a lot of power to make up for this. So yeah, we go for our combo, and he only plays 2 cards, which normally most people are only going to play 2 cards into this particular scenario. It'd be even 1 if he didn't have that Sera. So he goes for Mystique on the Iron Man, which is pretty good, especially with the Bass upgrade. And then he has Valkyrie to win the middle lane with there. So definitely a close one. Probably was not expecting to put so much power onto that left lane, but we were able to easily, well, not easily, but closely get the win there. So definitely a cool game. Ends up with a fist bump. Playing him again, huh? Man. Man. I'm considering it. I'm like legitimately, it's not the plan. Could just do this into this. That's like very normal. Odin mid. Oh my god. That's so evil. I love it. Actually evil, yeah. I'm gonna do it. Just just oh man. The duality of man. Oh no, this is so troll, right? Alright. No, no. Why? Why?
Educated Colin Snap. Once you watch him, you won't go back. He'll teach you to marvel snap. Your skills will be improved.